Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about BASTL, Kastle, Kastle. And it's this tiny little mini synth from BASTL Instruments. Runs on 3 AA batteries. Now just recently they came out with a Kastle version 2 that has a USB slot up here, so you can power it with a phone charger, which would be kind of nice, but I don't have that version. I've got the original one, which is strictly battery powered. This can be kind of a drawback and kind of an advantage as the batteries wear out. I've noticed that the sound quality deteriorates and you get this weird glitchy dirty lo-fi noise when the batteries are low, which can be very interesting, but if it's not what you want, it can be very annoying. Kastle, it's got some these little patch points here. They're what do you call it, unipolar, which means positive voltage only, and they're these sort of like micro patch points. And Kastle, in the box, it comes with a fistful of these little, they're like breadboard jumper cables that you use to patch it up. Now, outputs on the panel, it's probably hard to see, but the outputs have a little black outline around them, and the inputs do not. We'll get into patching it in a moment, but first let's turn it on. Let's plug it in. It's a mono output, but it has a stereo jack, so you get 2 channels. And flip the switch, and it's on. Let me roll up a chair and we'll get started in exploring the sounds that it can make. We're listening to one synthesis mode right now. It has 3, and there are 3 parameters that you can adjust. The oscillator pitch, it's on that knob. The oscillator timbre, which is sort of like a second oscillator that modulates the first one. And then here in the middle, this is wave shape, which sort of, it controls the pulse width of the primary oscillator. So that's one synthesis module, but as I mentioned, there are 3, so the 2 others are accessible by this point right here, which is labeled mode. And the way the mode is selected, like I said, it's a unipolar system, so it's positive voltage ranging from 0 to 5, well, it couldn't be, I don't think it could be 5 because the batteries back here add up to 4.5 volts. So I'm guessing it's 0 to 4.5. 5 volt is kind of standard in Eurorack modular. Lots of triggers and CV. 5 volts is a normal range for that, so we're pretty close. And this can communicate with modular gear, which I'll get to later on, but for right now, mode is selectable. You plug something in there, and then right above it, what happened? Making weird noises. Didn't do anything yet. Huh. Alright, so I have mode plugged in. Oh, touching this wire with my finger, and that's making it static electricity, I suppose. That might be something I could... Huh. Alright, I didn't know it would do that. Interesting. Directly above mode, you have this output that's labeled minus and plus. And what this is, minus is 0 volts, and plus is high voltage, which I'm assuming is 4.5. Somewhere in the middle, like 2 volts, I guess, you get the mode we're hearing now. If you plug mode to 0, the minus volt is okay, you get a different mode. And that mode behaves... Wait a minute. I plugged into the plus. I'm really doing well, aren't I? This is the plus side. And it behaves a little differently. Wave shape. Pitch. And timbre. If I connect over here to the minus terminal like I meant to do to begin with, then we get our other mode. It's a nice vocal quality to it. So those are the modes. Now over here there is the oscillator. You can take a square wave of the oscillator itself and mix it directly into the output for additional power. Or you can send that out of Kastle and use it perhaps to sync to another oscillator. And then down here is the LFO. This light that's blinking gives you a visual indication of the LFO rate. And it's got a triangle wave, which is what the light is showing you. There's also a square wave, which just takes the maximum and the minimum. And this LFO can be used to modulate several different things. If I plug in here, and there are 3 little holes in each of these. The long ones have 3 holes, and the short ones have 2. So you can connect multiple things together. It's kind of handy. Anyway, if I use the LFO to modulate pitch, you got to follow the little line. This is the one that's connected to the pitch mod attenuator. Right now it's not doing anything. The attenuator's turned down. As I turn it up, increase the amount that this LFO will affect the oscillator pitch. Adjust the speed. Now if you don't have anything patched in, the mod attenuator will still, for some reason, a little bit of voltage leaks through, and you can turn it and it'll sort of fine-tune the pitch parameter, which is interesting. Now if I use the LFO to control timbre down here, right, then the mod by itself with nothing plugged in acts as sort of a fine tune for the timbre parameter. You can also control wave shape. This doesn't have an attenuator, so you just get the LFO full blast, and it'll go up. Since all of it's unipolar positive voltage only, so the value moves up from wherever you happen to have it set. There's also a LFO rate modulation. You can't really do what I'm doing right now. Let's see, in order to hear this, we need to patch the LFO to somewhere else. Now I turn up the rate modulation. It speeds it up, but doing this doesn't really have a great deal of effect. There's a more dramatic use for that, which I'll get to in a minute. Now then, I didn't show you the square wave output. If I use that, then it just switches back and forth from high to low without the rising and falling slope in between. Now over here there's an LFO reset input, and what that will do, because the square wave opens when this gets to the top of its slope, you can use the reset to make the LFO from a triangle into a saw wave. So if I patch the square wave output into the reset jack, it will cause the LFO to reset from its top point, and it forces it to a triangle, into a square wave from a triangle. So that can be handy.